What are the traits of the conspiracy theorist? How do we identify them?
Well, we look at what they say and how they argue, and it turns out that there are about 7 telltale signs of conspiratorial thinking. So, for example, the one that I like the most because it is most diagnostic is the incoherence of conspiracy theories. That is the fact that a theory will contradict itself. Let me give you a recent example. There was a person recently talking about COVID and arguing that on the one hand, the virus, we got that from vaccinations when we were children, and it was dormant until we started wearing masks, and then it was activated. Now, that's nonsense, of course, but at the same time, the same person 5 minutes later said, it's a chemical weapon that was designed in a Chinese laboratory. So you're having this complete incoherence. I mean, it can't be both, and that is standard of virtually all conspiracy theories, that sooner or later they contradict themselves because they're not based on evidence. And then for some people, not everybody, but for some people, conspiracy theories become very attractive because they're offering psychological comfort, ironically. If you can assume that there is a handful of really bad people out there who are conspiring to do these terrible things, that provides you with comfort because in principle, at least, it would be controllable. If these people had acted differently, this would not have happened. That is a sort of a sense of control that you don't get out of a virus or a random car accident or some other uncontrollable and unanticipated event. And that is why some people resort to that.
So it can't have happened unless somebody or something bad was behind it.
Basically, some people find it much easier to explain big traumatic events by postulating a big, really evil cause for that. It is hard to see how a person as prominent and beautiful as Princess Diana could have just been killed by a drunk driver. That is so banal and so everyday. It just doesn't match with her profile. And so it's much easier to think, oh my God, it was the royal family and MI5, MI6, the CIA, whatever, some conspiracy that killed her because it is, gives you a sense of doing justice to the profile of the person who died.
How damaging are these conspiracy theories?
Well, in the extreme case, they can be very damaging. Here in the United Kingdom, we've had something like 60 or 70 cell phone towers that have been vandalized and burned to the ground because of this ridiculous idea that 5G broadband is somehow causing COVID. So some people feel empowered through conspiracy theories to go out and damage infrastructure. We've had cases here in the United Kingdom where broadband engineers have been assaulted on the street because they were working on mobile technology. We've even had a case here where somebody was spat in the face and then developed COVID as a consequence because they were a software engineer out on the streets fixing things. So it can be extremely damaging. So very often there is a political purpose to a conspiracy theory, undoubtedly.
Donald Trump comes to mind, but do people like Donald Trump and celebrities, for example, really exacerbate the situation?
Well, obviously, yes, I think so. Anybody who's spreading or communicating a conspiracy theory or lending it credence is making it more likely that members of the public will believe it. Unlike real life, I can go onto social media, and it doesn't matter how absurd a belief I hold, I will find a community of like-minded people. I can think the earth is flat. Guess what? I go on Facebook, and out of the billions of Facebook users, a few hundred others will believe what I believe. Now, in real life, you can't do that because there are so few of them that you'll never find them. But on social media, you can. Now, that is not a trivial result because what that does is to reinforce people's belief and makes them more resistant to persuasion. We know that from a lot of literature that people hold a belief with a strength that is proportional to what they perceive to be the consensus around them. So if you think everybody else is thinking the same thing, you'll never change your belief. And on social media, you can simulate that support for pretty much any belief, no matter how absurd. And that is one of the reasons why it has become so difficult to communicate with people across polarizing divides, because everybody has their own little epistemic bubble.
And it is a bubble, isn't it?
It is a bubble indeed, yes. The best way to deal with conspiracy theories is to pre-bunk them. That is, you tell people ahead of time what they can expect. And maybe with the pandemic, maybe we should have done that at the outset. We should have said, oh, we have a pandemic coming. Oh, by the way, watch out for the fact that some people will now come up with incredibly crazy conspiracy theories. And we have data suggesting that if you warn people up front that they're about to be misled, that makes them more resistant to then believing those conspiracy theories.
Hello, I'm Liz Hayes. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.